Now, from a quiet pint to a classic Sunday roast, for centuries pubs have played a very important role in British life. But is your local becoming less pub and more playground?
With the rise in bars, restaurants and pubs becoming increasingly child-friendly, could it be a time to ban them for good? Or should crayons, kids, menus and toys come with the territory?
And well, we're joined by presenter Andy West, who longs for a child-free pint. He's here alongside journalist Georgina Fuller, who thinks families have every right to go out in their local. Welcome to both of you. Now, Andy, I'm going to start with you, because you sent out last month quite a strong-worded tweet.
Did I?
Yes,
okay.
You did. I'm sure you remember. You said, children do not belong in pubs. If you have children, do not go to the pub with them. Your children have no place in pubs. You made a choice to have kids equals no pub. Accept your responsibility and get your child out of the pub. Ban kids from pubs.
Who would disagree with that?
I would.
You would disagree with that? Why?
Well, I mean, every Sunday, we go to a local sort of family pub where I take my little ones, they do some colouring, we sit there, we have a Sunday roast.
Exactly.
I've done that since I was a little girl. And I
But
think maybe choosing, like, a pub that is a family-friendly pub, maybe.
Here's the legislation I think I propose. I know Teresa's pretty busy right now, but here's what I'd suggest to her, right? If a pub has a ball pool and a slide, then it's not really a pub. If there's a couple in Ugg boots and jogging bottoms arguing about who dinged their Subaru, then it's fine. That's a place where kids are allowed. If it's a pub with a swingy sign above the door and a thatched roof and a fire, no kids. That's the legislation. It's not the right place. I go to the pub to be a grown-up, and in fact, I don't have kids, but people who do have kids say they like going to the pub to get away from the kids. Shock horror. Sometimes kids are wonderful. I get accused of not liking kids. I love spending time with children. Just not in pubs.
So what prompted this then? Has there been one particular moment? What's the problem in your local?
Every single time. One single moment. Every single time. Loads of people watching will have been in this situation where you go for a nice, quiet drink. It's also posh restaurants. If you have, like, bulb glasses and a tea light, again, not OK for kids, and you're there just to have a nice, quiet drink, maybe a romantic meal, maybe you're there to talk about your sex life, tell dirty jokes, get drunk, swear, be a grown-up and do the things we're allowed to do, then you go to these situations and kids turn up and they're screaming, they're running. I mean, you know what it's like, right? Imagine you're having like a nice romantic meal, OK? How's this? How's that? Is that annoying?
Well,
how's your romantic meal now? Is that good?
Yeah, that's very annoying.
That good? And then it goes to this. They're running around, up and down the pub. Here they are. Look. Oh no, that's gone over. And it's.
Oh, no,
Get your feet off that
feet all over the chairs. More bang. Dapples. The pear's gone.
Oh.
And you're trying to have a nice, quiet meal as a grown-up.
It's a point very well made.
Say, sit down, shut up.
A very thorough point.
Yeah,
One that I'm not sure in our debate at the beginning of the show we've ever had made quite like that. But well done.
Well done.
So how could you possibly disagree?
Well, I mean, you've got to be reasonable. If you want to live in a society where children are banned from pubs, what does that say about a society that you're not inclusive, that you're not including? You know, exactly, I very much agree with what you were saying. I mean, pubs are part of our life, they're part of our community. Families are part of our community. Children are part of our community. You can't just say... I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I don't take my children to the pub. There's probably a curfew from about 8 o'clock where I wouldn't take them out after that, but I'll certainly go there for Sunday lunch. I'll go there after school. We'll sit down about 5:30 and eat. It's part of our life. We're very lucky to have a lovely pub which has a big colouring box of things and activities. They really enjoy going there. I go there to relax. I mean, where do you draw the line? Are you saying, like, you can't go to pubs, you can't go to cafes,
You're asking me to be reasonable. I am reasonable. You can go to the places with the ballparks and the slides, and you can go to those places. That's fine. I think what's unreasonable is parents, and I think it's kind of parents of my generation, who think that having children shouldn't make any difference to their lives. Just because I've had kids doesn't mean I can't go and have a few pints with my friends in the pub. Well, actually, it does, because having children is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and you're lucky to have children.
You're out of breath now.
I was just about to say that.
I don't know how children do it.
Are we supposed to keep our children indoors until they're 18? Are we not supposed to take them to cafes, restaurants, bars? I mean, where do you draw the line on it?
There are appropriate and inappropriate ones, and pubs aren't appropriate.
More about the behaviour of the child, because I would be really upset if my little one was running around with their shoes on the sofa like you just did, and, you know, throwing stuff, and I wouldn't have that. I would not let my little one do that, and, you know, I think
most parents wouldn't. I'd say 3/4 of parents wouldn't.
Yes.
So isn't the issue here, Rochelle says, isn't the issue here, because I know that when our girls were little, we could take them anywhere. There were rules. You sit down, you eat quietly, you behave, you colour quietly, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They would never, our children would never have done that. Otherwise, they'd have been threatened. You'll not come
You
out
won't
again.
go, exactly.
So is it all right if children are well behaved in pubs?
No.
No.
No, it's not, because the other side to it is, as I said earlier, I should be able to sit there and, tell you a dirty joke. I should be able to sit there and swear. I should be able to get a bit drunk.
But I don't think parents...
See, the trouble is, I don't know whether I want to sit
that.
next to you in there.
But I don't
That's fine. That's fine. But it's designed. Pubs are places, and they have been for many, many generations, where actually we're allowed to go. And if there's the obnoxious bloke at the bar, that's part of it. You know, if someone gets a bit drunk, that's part of it. If someone tells a really rude, loud joke, that's part of it.
And if there's an annoying child there, that's probably part of it as well.
No, but it isn't. It isn't. Children are welcome in so many places now, and I am patient with children in so many places.
So
but
what
pubs
sort
are
of
different.
places then? What you mean, like parks and public places like that?
You mean children-only places, like soft plays? Or
Yeah,
is that
I mean,
what
have
keep
you
saying,
been
with
to
a
a
ball
soft
pit?
play? I
Or
mean,
restaurants that are particularly designed for children. I'm not saying let's ban children from society. I'm saying surely we
McDonald's
can
or-
have places where children aren't allowed to be without offending every parent and making out as though we're
You love your
anti-kids.
local pub, yeah? You love it. If there weren't kids there, you'd love it even more. But you love your local pub.
Yes.
You like going.
I love all my local pubs. There are
Right,
many.
you enjoy the pub. The BBC report. Pubs closing at a rate of 18 a week.
Yeah.
476 closures in the first 6 months of this year, 13 more than the last 6 months of 2017. Pubs have got to do something to bring
couldn't
people in,
survive it.
or you'll lose your local pub.
Yeah.
Well, my local pub is losing me, and I'm not the only one here. When I tweeted about this, loads of people, including parents, said, "Yeah, I do want a place to
Well,
go
I saw
where I
that,
can
yeah.
sit quietly and not have screaming and people kicking my chair and throwing the food around."
Final word, Georgina.
I just think you've got to take a balanced view, and I don't think you can just say outright ban. I think that's just too extreme. I think, view things subjectively, everything in moderation.
All right, I'll try. I'll try my best.
Well, Nicola says, I think if they keep to the rules of no children after 8 p.m. on a weekend, then
Yeah.
that's OK.
Yeah,
Later
I
on in
would
the
agree with
evening,
that.
OK?
6.
6.
Get home.
As parents want to have
enough at 8 anyway.
Honest,
You've got to have
I'm
a
normally
life
gone
as
at about
well.
6. You've got to get them in the bath and you've got to do all that stuff.
I mean, the older they get, the more you
Yes.
can stretch it. But yeah.
Tammy
my
says,
eldest
yes,
is
they
9,
should
so-
be banned. I don't understand how pubs allow children, but not dogs. Dogs don't make anywhere near as much noise or mess.
True.
OK, Andy says, in my opinion, if you're serving food, then children should be able to go there until a certain time.
Hannah says, I remember only being allowed in the garden when we went to the pub, and as an
See, I
adult,
mean-
I now understand why.
I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
Being to sit outside. I mean, I can't imagine making one of my
Well,
kids sit
especially in
outside.
February.
Basically,
It's a bit
the
mad.
summary is your viewers all agree with me. I think that's
Well,
what's happening.
I've
We all
got to
agree.
I don't think so.
Got to say, predominantly
Predominantly
the
they
views
do.
that we've had so far are in your favour.
Well, we need to hear from the
There you
mums
go.
then, I think. don't we?
Although many people said, don't put your feet on the sofa.
Yes, they did. Or throw
Sorry.
around our fruit. It's very
Our
rude.
plastic fruit.
Yes.